All right, everybody, who is ready for a brand new DC update? We have quite a few things to talk about today, and the first story that I'm going to talk about was a pretty big story over the weekend, and it was actually something that hit the internet as soon as I had posted my last video, and just this morning, there was a big update. So we're going to start the video with this story, and we're going to end it with the same story, and we're going to find out what happens. So I'm going to post this first picture, and we're going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about what it means for Warner Brothers going forward, and then we're going to see, at the end how this is updated. I'm still going to talk about how that's going to affect Warner Brothers going into the future. So the first photo I have here, and this is an exclusive that came from the Hollywood Reporter, Warner Brothers shelves John Cena's Coyote vs. Acme movie a year after it was completed filming. Now, this is when it first got posted, and then all the trades picked up on this. So there was, and I didn't know this movie was coming out, but there was an animated film coming out, Coyote, versus the Roadrunner, basically. It was a Looney Tunes cartoon. And this is actually one of the movies that I would have gone to see. I wasn't a big Looney Tunes fan growing up, but I did love the Roadrunner cartoons. They were my favorite. I also liked Tom and Jerry. This is a movie that I think would have a pretty wide appeal to a bunch of different people. And Warner Brothers shelved it to get a $30 million write-off. The same thing they did with Batgirl. Now, there was a lot of noise about this cancellation over the weekend from fans, from people in the industry, and there has been an update to this story this morning. And we're going to see what this is later. It's going to be the last slide that I show, and we're going to talk about what it means for Warner Brothers going forward. But what this means here is that fewer people are going to want to work with Warner Brothers. I don't know how they're going to be able to get top-tier talent if when you complete a movie with them, your work may never be shown. Now, here's the thing. The filmmakers still get paid. The actors still get paid. The crew members still get paid. But then there's no royalties. They're taking it as a tax write-off, and all that work that these people did never gets shown. Now, this happens in entertainment. I will tell you, as a voice actor, there are lots of projects that I have participated in the past that never actually see the light of day, but I still get paid for them. And it's sad when those things don't get to see the light of day. But this one here was a head scratcher. Why would you cancel this specific movie when there would probably be an appeal for it? But we're going to see what the update is here in a little bit. So I just think this is going to keep people from wanting to work with Warner Brothers in the future. Here's another photo on that same thing from Deadline, that Warner Brothers will get a $30 million tax write-off from shelving Coyote vs. Acme. The film was completed with very good test scores. Warner Brothers reportedly thought it wasn't worth the cost to release or sell to other buyers. Yeah, we're going to see the update to this here in just a few minutes. Now, this was another story that was floating around about Booster Gold. It says writer Mike Sarasano revealed that the Booster Gold TV series was in development before the strikes. However, due to the back-to-back timing of the regime change at Warner Brothers and the strikes, the series hasn't moved forward, but the series script is now available online. A Booster Gold series was developed set after the events of The Flash, but this has now changed. It's in different hands. They've got different writers, and now it is supposed to mesh with the DCU instead of the DCEU. And so they have retooled this as a brand new project. And they probably kept it because it was already being planned to begin with, but they're just retooling it now for James Gunn's DCU. All right, there was one of the things I picked up on last week was that Superman and Lois was ending its 4th season on the CW, and the CW actually did release a little thing about this, and came out November 2nd of 2023, and it says the CW network today announced the hit series Superman and Lois, starring Tyre Hoechlin and Elizabeth Tulloch, will conclude with its upcoming 4th season. The 10-episode final season is slated to air on the CW in 2024. They said over the last 3 seasons, Superman and Lois redefined both the superhero genre and family drama as Tyler, Elizabeth, and the entire cast effortlessly portrayed the classic characters with new layers of depth and complexity. that had never been explored in the Superman universe. The CW network said, "We are grateful for the years of hard work and graceful storytelling from the show's writers, producers, actors, and crew, as well as our terrific partners at Warner Brothers Television and Berlanti Productions. As Superman embarks on his final flight, the team is leaving us with an absolutely epic 10-episode must-watch every-minute farewell to one of the most legendary CW families ever." While we're sad to say goodbye to Superman and Lois at the end of the season 4, we're grateful for the time we had with our amazing cast, crew, VFX teams, editors, musical geniuses, and writers. Since the day this show was first discussed, it was about family, and that's what was created on and off screen. We'd like to thank our partner at Berlanti Productions, DC, WB, and the CW for their endless support and enthusiasm during this journey, and give a very special thank you to all the fans for tuning in. We're thrilled about what we have in store for our final season and can't wait for everyone to watch as Superman, Lois, and all our heroes face off against the biggest threat in the show's history, Lex Luthor. All right, so there we go. That was released by the CW last week, and I haven't seen season 3. I'm probably about halfway through season 2. I need to go back and catch up so that I can review this when it does finally get released. But the production value in the show has been phenomenal, above and beyond anything that they've done in the Arrowverse before. And it will be sad to see this end. It's the first time we've had a real, true Superman show in many, many, many years. I think since probably since Superman and since Lois and Clark. I believe that was what it was called. So we haven't had a Superman show since then, but this will be missed. So another movie is going to make it to Netflix on December 1st, Shazam! Fury of the Gods. So the sequel will also be with the other movies being released on Netflix come December 1st. And, it's crazy. Netflix is raising their prices. I got an email about it this morning, which is nuts. And they're doing it because of the writer strike. Now that they're demanding more money, they're going to take more money from the people watching it. So it doesn't affect them, it affects everybody watching, which is crazy that these companies will continue to do this. It's like the government taking more and more taxes all the time. It's getting to be insane. All right, let's see what's next. Now that the writer strike, or not the writer strike, but the SAG-AFTRA strike is over, it says DC Studios to resume production as actor strike ends, and that James Gunn's Superman Legacy, starring David Corenswet and Rachel Brosnahan, aims to start filming in March. And they show this epic picture of Batman and Superman. I doubt the movie will be as epic as this picture. If you haven't seen my Marvels review, I highly encourage you to go watch it. It talks about, I actually did a video last night that I'll leave a link to it in the description of this video as to why these movies are failing and why DC is failing, why Marvel is failing, why Star Wars is failing. And it's basically, I liken James Gunn to the little sister. There's a kid who loves his toys. He's got his superhero toys. He's got his Transformers, his Thundercats, his G.I. Joes, his He-Man figures. And he goes to do a chore for his parents. And when he comes back, his sister has hijacked his toys and is doing tea parties and musical numbers with them. And she doesn't care about these toys. She just wants her time to play in the sandbox, basically. And I believe that's what I liken what's gone on with the MCU and what's going on with the DC Universe under James Gunn. I equate him to the little sister hijacking the toys. Well, he doesn't really care. And we're going to see, if I'm wrong, I'll totally admit it. If Superman Legacy comes out and ends up being amazing, I'll admit it. But I haven't seen anything that's indicating that is going to be the case. I think it's a rush job, which we'll talk about here in a few minutes. Now, David Harbour came out, from Stranger Things. He was cast in Creature Commandos, and he had a couple of quotes that came out over this last weekend. He is playing Frankenstein in Creature Commandos, and he said, "The scripts are really good. What we recorded is really great. I've seen the art. James is a genius." I think it's going to be really fun and really exciting, and it opens up a whole new door to the DC Universe of how these characters will occupy the world. I like the concept of a live action and cartoon back and forth. He goes on to say they asked him about doing a live-action version of Frankenstein in the DCU, and he said, I mean, I don't know how they do it nowadays. It feels like Mark Ruffalo just puts some dots on his face for the Hulk, but I don't know how they'll do it. I've worn prosthetics in movies before. I'm definitely down for it. I just love telling great stories that people love. I'm just happy to be back to work. He's also got the last season of Stranger Things. That's going to be filming here soon. I should be doing a TV show and movie update soon, and they do expect to get that final season of Stranger Things filming ASAP. All right, so James Gunn came out of the woodwork and showed what people believe to be the official art and style of the logo for Superman Legacy. It just doesn't say it at the top, but it gives the release date of the movie. And he said, thanks to the efforts of our talented crew who never lost faith during the longest strike in Hollywood history and who never let their foot off the pedal, continuing to barrel forward, creating the most amazing character and set designs I've seen in my entire career. Superman Legacy will be making the originally planned release date of July 11th, 2023, which is just a year and a half away. And this movie doesn't even start filming for like another 4 months, which means they have just 1 year to film and basically release this movie. It's basically going to be about a 15-month window that they have. They don't do movies on an epic scale that quickly. They just don't. Those movies take 2 to 2.5 years to complete. They better have their act together. Like, this is the most important film that Warner Brothers has ever released. And we've heard James Gunn talk about amazing stuff in the past. Remember how he said The Flash is supposed to be this amazing movie and it bombed and it was not that good? Well, yeah, that's kind of the sense I get from James Gunn overall, and I feel like this is going to be a rush job. Now, I am going to address something I talked about in my last video that I do have to correct myself on. With the release date for the Batman 2, it has never been delayed, and so I made a mistake on that. It's still distancing itself from Superman Legacy, and I just don't think James Gunn likes to share the limelight, and this is his baby through and through. So if this movie fails, he's got nothing to blame but himself. So we'll see in the future if this movie is any good. Now, over the weekend, I'm going to show you some photos, and people were trying to say that this was coming from Superman Legacy. And if it was, it would be terrible if this was the suit. But it's not. Okay, this was from a movie that was going to be made almost 20 years ago, and it never ended up getting released. And it was actually going to star, why am I forgetting his name off the top of my head? Right here, Josh Hartnett. He was actually going to be playing Superman, and it never got made. It was going to be called Superman Flyby, and this film was shelved, and so that's what those photos are from. But people are going to take this opportunity to pass things around the internet that are not true. But this one, they're going to try to pass it off as true, and this is one of those things that was not true. So this is one thing I wanted to address here. So somebody asked James Gunn directly about the release date on Superman Legacy. He said, nice. Also, please keep Warner Brothers away. Do not let them interfere. And this has to do with, what happened with not just Batgirl and the Coyote movie, but also what happened with Zack Snyder and all those films, and David Ayer, how they got their films butchered. And James Gunn said it's a DC Studios production, separate from Warner Brothers. He's blowing smoke right there, guys, because the buck stops with David Zaslav. If David Zaslav does not care for the film, doesn't think it will do well, it will get canceled. I guarantee you that. And I think the pressure is going to be on them, especially what happened over this weekend with this other, the Coyote movie. There's some weird things coming down the pike. They're putting themselves into a terrible, terrible position. And we're going to talk about that with the update of the actual Coyote movie. Now, what I posted, it said the Batman Part 2 has been delayed to March 27th of 2026. And this came from Variety, and this is where I took my information from when I talked about the Batman being delayed. And so, again, this is just information that was passed around out there. And I don't know if that was the original release date or not, but it says it has been delayed to March 27th of 2026. All right, so yesterday, Zack Snyder released the new trailer. Well, not Zack Snyder. Netflix released the new trailer for Rebel Moon. And we're going to look at something interesting here to look at the interest versus the DCU. And you could see that this trailer was released when I took this picture, and the numbers are even greater now. But when this was released, 7 hours prior to me taking this or getting this picture, that Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire, the official trailer from Netflix, already had almost 3.5 million views in a 7-hour period. Compared to James Gunn's Chapter 1 Gods and Monsters announcement has had 2 million views all the way since January 31st of this year up until today. It's taken almost an entire year to get that many views, whereas Zack Snyder's film gets more views than that in just 7 hours. It shows you the interest that people have in what is happening. You could deny it, you could say it's not happening, but the proof is in the numbers. All right, so here's the update to the Coyote versus Acme movie. After initially shelving it for a tax write-off, Warner Brothers will reportedly, so not a done deal yet, will reportedly now let the filmmakers of Coyote versus Acme shop the movie to other potential distributors following backlash to their decision. There you go. There you have it, guys. There was so much pressure over the weekend that it looks like Warner Brothers is going to reverse course here and allow this movie to be distributed by someone else. They'll take some money to distribute it, probably through Netflix or through Amazon. Maybe it'll go straight to video. Who knows? I'm hoping this does get released. I would absolutely check this out. I hope it's good. This is, again, they're putting out mixed messages here. This is just a saving grace movement. I don't think this is going to help the company overall. I could tell you, I don't think this is going to prevent them from gaining top talent in the future. Who is going to want to work for this company if they know there's a good chance that their work will never see the light of day after putting all that effort into it? Yeah, they still get paid, but at the end of the day, you want your work to be seen. And if, being a creative person and being in the industry I'm in, if Warner Brothers had a habit of doing this and my agent came to me with an opportunity to work with them, I would turn it down. I would turn it down in a heartbeat unless I had some guarantees that it was going to be released. This is some crazy stuff that's going on with them. And it's a bad look. It is a bad look, especially when Zaslav came out and said that he was all there for the creative people. He doesn't care about the creatives. All he cares about is that mighty dollar and his investors. And I don't even think that they're geared in the right direction. In fact, like I said, I'm going to leave a link to that video as to why things are failing in the description of this video. And if you haven't watched that, you can check it out. It's very easy to see what's happening, and yet they refuse to fix it and they continue course. I just don't see a bright future ahead. But we'll see. If Superman Legacy comes out and it's amazing, I will totally admit it. But this company is constantly shooting itself in the foot by doing moves like this. All right, guys, I do appreciate you bearing with me with this massive size update. I took the weekend off, and I wanted to make sure I brought you all the cool stuff that happened over the weekend. It was pretty crazy. We'll see. Stick to my channel because I'm going to have update after update after update after update coming because of everything that is happening with the DCU and the announcements that will be coming. I do, in fact, expect some more announcements this week in regards to some of the casting for Superman Legacy. And I will be covering all of that stuff moving forward. So if you haven't already, please like the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and you will be notified as I have new videos go up. We will see you on the next update.